Welcome back to Fresh Off the Set. I'm Brooke Mangum, and thank you so much for listening. Today, we have a very, very special guest for you. Clive Romney is a musician, storyteller, and cultural advocate who is on a mission to preserve and share Utah's rich heritage through music and folklore, bringing history to life in ways that entertain and educate. We're going to explore his love for storytelling, his work with the Utah Pioneer Heritage Arts, and enjoy a few of his captivating songs. Yes, he is going to be performing for us today. So without any further ado, let's take it away.
What's up, everybody? This is David Osmond, and welcome to Fresh Off the Set. I'm so glad to be here today. I brought in a great friend of mine I've known for years and years, a music artist, a songwriter, a producer, and all around just gentleman and scholar. He loves people. He loves good stories, and he loves to put those stories to music, which I think is incredible. It's my love language, and just a guy that is so connected in the Utah realm. I know our families have known each other since the beginning of time, probably. And I wanted to introduce you to him today. His name is Clive Romney, and he has created something called the Utah Pioneer Heritage Arts. That and so many other brands and companies and groups and projects. I've had a chance to work with him in studio, on the drawing board, in the arts side of things. And one thing I do know about him is he is one of the kindest, most gracious gentlemen you'll ever meet in your life. So I'm excited to introduce you to him today. Clive Romney is in studio with us for our podcast, Fresh Off the Set. Welcome, my friend.
Thank you, and I'm anything but fresh off the set. I'm 76 years old, almost an artifact.
Oh, whatever,
myself.
Dude. As we said before, you remember when the Dead Sea was only sick.
That's right.
You know, dude. Well, you're making it look good, 76. And my dad is that same age. And so it's a great age to be, and you're a spring chicken, and you got a lot still to do. And you're doing it. Thank you for coming on in to spend some time with me. You were on the TV show today, this morning. We were talking music. You brought your guitar. One thing I love about your passion with music is that you focus on the storytelling side of it. It is truly an art form. I'm curious if we dive back into the beginnings of things, because I don't even know if I know the full story. How did you get to be a musician? Where are you from? Where did life begin? And how did your love of music, what was the genesis of that?
My grandfather, Joseph Campbell Clive, which is where I got my first name, was the director of bands at the University of Utah. My mother, Winifred Elaine Clive, was an incredible musician, and she wrote South High School Song, among many other things. And so I had two great models, both of which I absolutely did not want to follow. I saw how hard they worked, and I thought, no. Give me an 8 to 5 job, 4 weeks of vacation in the summer. That's for me.
A little more stability in the music world.
I tried it, and I couldn't abide it.
Really?
I had to be in music. I had to be creating, or I just wasn't happy.
And what age did you realize this dream and that you had the creative bug?
I was about 25.
Okay.
Because I tried going into business, was getting ulcers, feeling horrible, and I couldn't figure out what was wrong. So I went back to the University of Utah to study again. And since I had a second chance, I thought, well, I'm getting these ulcers just because I'm not properly prepared for business. So I signed up for a full load of business and economics courses. But just because I had a second chance at the university, I thought, just for fun. I'm
Famous last words
yes,
right there, just for fun.
Just for fun, I'm going to sign up for a music theory course. And my instructor, Ardeen Watts, said, the meat and potatoes of your musical meal are major and minor chords, but it has no savor, no seasoning without the diminished and augmented chords.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
And I thought, I get this. I can recreate in other people the feelings that music has always created in me. So I dropped all of my business courses, signed up for a full load.
No way.
Of beginning music courses. And Ardeen Watts put it together for me, and from that point on, I
Changed
knew
your life.
I had to be in music because it just filled my soul.
Music is what feelings sound like.
Yeah.
And you found that as well. And you're in your mid-20s, changed your whole career trajectory.
Yeah.
And now you got a full load of music theory and creation, and you've stayed in that lane ever since.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then when I found out that music bypasses your logical filters, you stop judging when it's set to music. You just believe it.
Yeah.
I thought, well, this is the perfect storytelling vehicle.
Yeah.
If you're going to tell true stories, put it to music. And that was the second big change in my life.
Who was your musical inspiration? I mean, you had your parents who were musical, of course.
Ron Simpson.
I know Ron Simpson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sound Column Productions. He hired me. He took a real chance on me. And at first I vacuumed, I cleaned bathrooms, I took out the garbage, and every once in a while I get a musical assignment from Ron.
Huh.
And every time he'd say, that's good, but have you thought of this?
Huh.
And he would gently tutor me in studio arranging, which is different from live arranging in many cases. So Ron tutored me, and then I grew up in a household full of classical music. Everything from Ferdy-Grofé, the Grand Canyon Suite, to Tchaikovsky and Rimsky-Korsakov, and great composers, and I just loved those melodies.
Yeah. Did you learn instruments in that phase when you were at home, along with the arrangements and who the composers were? Did you play piano? You got a guitar in your hands right now? When did the instruments come into play?
Well, my mom tried her best to teach me piano when I was 6 years old, and I was just too impatient. And she and I butted heads, personality-wise. And so she finally said, well, what do you want to learn?
Yeah.
And I said, drums. And so she signed me up for lessons with a percussionist from the Utah Symphony.
Wow.
And I started on a rubber practice pad, snare drum.
Just
And
finding those beats.
yeah. And then when I was 12, my mom got a ukulele for Christmas. I looked at those 4 strings and I thought, I can figure this out.
Yeah.
And so I
Shouldn't be
started
too hard.
experimenting with chords, and I learned enough chords to sing Dreamer, silly dreamer.
In what age were you when you learned that?
This was probably, 12 or 13.
Just a kid. Wow.
And, it was a pop song off the radio at that point. I grabbed my neighbor from across the street, Dan Lindstrom, and my cousin, Steve Romney, from 2 doors down.
Okay.
And I said, you sing this part, I'll sing the melody. And we had 3-part harmony.
And you created a doo-wop band.
Yeah, it was with the ukulele.
With the ukulele. That is so cool.
And when we performed that song, we heard something that changed my life, and it was applause.
Okay.
I thought, somebody likes something
Someone
I'm doing.
appreciates this.
I was one of 9 kids. I was hungry for attention.
Yeah. Someone noticed me.
Yeah. I thought, okay, I'm going to do this more often.
Good for you.
So we learned another song, and then I thought, the ukulele just doesn't have the depth that I need.
Yeah.
So I borrowed a guitar from a member of my congregation.
Yeah.
And then my buddy got a guitar for Christmas, and then my cousin got a guitar also for Christmas, and I thought 3 guitars is just too many. And so I was in the band as a percussionist over at junior high.
Okay.
And I pled with my band director, Larry Bird. He was another mentor. Larry Bird. And I said, could I please just take home a string bass? Because I knew that it was the same as the bottom 4 strings of a guitar. Yeah. And he said, sure, just, be sure you put it in the case, take good care of it. So I started to play bass, and we had a bass and 2 guitars. And then my cousin said, hey, I want to learn to play the bass. So Steve learned to play the bass. I bought a banjo.
Okay.
And took a few lessons. So we were the Kingston Trio reincarnated.
Yeah, man.
And started doing their songs.
Did you start getting offers to go gig at places, or were you seeking out those performance opportunities?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then not just applause, you started making money from it, I would hope, right? Like, hey, we can actually do this as a business.
Instead of delivering newspapers in the morning, like I'd been doing for several years, this became my job.
Yeah.
And I just loved it. And but I had not yet started creating music. When I went on a mission down to Chile, I just fell in love with the culture, the folk music, everything. And I felt compelled to write, and now I'm going to untune.
You're going to untune your guitar. You're going to play something. Is that the drop E that you're...
De lejos me vine errante hacia ti, camino de penas viajaba. So I wrote a song in Spanish about my
That's
love
your
for
song?
Chile. Yeah.
Enhorabuena. Felicidades.
Oh, hermano, no sabía que tú también hablabas español.
Todo el mundo habla español. No, the whole world speaks Spanish, and you speak it so well. And not just speak, you write music. I remember when I was learning Spanish years ago and trying to understand it, I learned more Spanish through music
Yes.
than any other medium.
Yeah, Pedro Gallegos was my junior high school Spanish teacher.
No
And he
kidding.
taught me, Adiós mi chaparrita, no llores por tu pancho.
Oh my gosh.
And the pronunciation
The
is
pronunciation,
so... Yeah.
the lyrics, it sticks with you. I was listening to from Julio Iglesias to Ricky Martin. You know what I mean? Just anything I could anything I liked,
Yeah.
I would learn that language. And then the storytelling aspect changes everything. That's beautiful. So you were able to write in multiple languages, and you were always, I mean, Ron Simpson was a big mentor. You mentioned that. Larry Bird, even going back to early days of your school. All these people had such an influence in your life, and now you're paying it forward. You turned this into something that is a movement. I've always seen you mentoring others. Every time I'm with you and you find a connection to someone and you want to help pay that forward. You have this natural gift as a teacher, a mentor yourself. And you do it through love, compassion, but also that music. There's a message with your music always. When did that start? Was that always at the very beginning? It just always has been there? I want to use my music as a tool to make a difference?
Yes. Yeah. I have a patriarchal blessing that tells me that will be the means of my doing a lot of good. So I'm trying to live out that. I view it as a command of something I'm supposed to do.
You feel the table has been set for you. You have instructions,
Yeah.
And fulfilling your life the way is most fulfilling and rewarding for others too.
Yeah, and
It's
then
awesome.
when I wrote my first song about my grandpa, because I totally misunderstood him, I started to write a song. The Spirit kept telling me, no, this is not the way to portray your grandfather. And so I tore that one up. I started learning about my own grandfather. And then I wrote a song that paid proper tribute to both Grandpa and Grandma Romney, Junius and Gertrude.
Huh.
And they were just amazing people, so dedicated. Grandpa, Junius Romney, was the stake president in Colonia Juarez, Mexico, really of all of the 10 Mexican colonies, Mormon colonies down there at the time of the Exodus.
In a leadership position for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Down in Mexico, you said, or in Chile?
In Mexico.
Okay.
And he had to make the decision to pull 5,000 American citizens out of Mexico. They went there to be able to, continue living in polygamous families, but eventually Pancho Villa and his lieutenants and generals were causing such an uproar that Grandpa just didn't feel it was safe. So he pulled everybody out, and it was a difficult decision.
Did you know that story?
No.
Like at a young age? It sounds, you have such an affinity to your heritage, to your own ancestry. I've always known you to just be a passionate person about genealogy and the stories of where you come from. Yeah. But you didn't know this until what age? After the music.
40.
This is after. So way after your education. You're already in music, and you're learning about these stories after the fact.
Yeah. Grandpa died when I was 22, and now I'm 48.
At this time, yeah.
When I was tricked into creating a program for the family reunion, and I thought, well, what do I do? Well, I'll write a song.
Music, yeah.
And so I started on one song, but it just kept getting this message that no, you're doing it wrong. When you write a song from somebody's point of view, you're resurrecting them, and you have to be really careful about how you do that, because you're speaking for them.
And you felt a dissonance. with that first word. Where did the song end up? You got the guitar here. I don't want to put you on the spot, but can you play even just 30 seconds of what that song is?
Okay,
as you tune your guitar back up? This is that rewritten song. I'm putting you on the spot totally, but I love watching you work, man. It's awesome.
Their genesis was what is 1900, the ramrod and the gentle turtle dove. He wanted to change the world, to order it just so. She wanted just to change each heart with love. She found if she allowed him at least the illusion that all major plans were under his control, he could fight his battles and give her the freedom to tend her precious garden of souls.
Oh, that's pretty, man. I love your chord changes, too. It's just a natural gift of using those chords. And Ron Simpson was right. It's not just the majors and the minors. It's the diminished and everything in between. It's great.
All that classical music I listened to as a kid.
Big time.
Yeah, my mom was a piano teacher. We had 2 grand pianos, nose to nose, in the living room. And she would teach. and my older sister, Ruth, was a gifted pianist in spite of many medical problems with her hands.
Really?
And so the 2 of them would play duets, and I just
2 dueling grand pianos in the house.
Yeah.
Whoa.
It doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah, and then to have that rub with your mom where you did not want to play piano. It probably broke her heart. Man.
And in my later years, I realized what a fool I was.
What an opportunity missed, right?
Yeah.
Well, you're making amends by honoring and paying tribute to your family and their heritage and their stories. You have this group, Utah Pioneer Heritage Arts. What was the start of this group? And now you're moving to the Ancestral Heritage Arts.
Yeah.
Tell me about this group and what are your intentions? I know you gather a lot of other songwriters to be able to pay tribute through music to the stories of pioneer heritage.
Yeah.
But how did this group start?
My wife is a dancer, a folk dancer. She was trained in ballet, but then she was part of the BYU folk dancers. And she won my heart by how she flirted on stage. She was so good, The toss of the head, the wink of the eye.
You knew it was just for you, too.
Oh, yeah.
You just had to have been. That's cute.
So I was traveling with that ensemble. Well, not with the BYU folk dance. Well, I guess I did. My first trip was with the BYU International Folk Dancers.
Wow,
And
cool.
I was a guitarist in the band. And then when Bonnie left school a few years afterwards, she and a friend formed an international folk dance group called Clog America.
Okay.
And they would travel all over the world doing folk festivals. And I would come back to Utah and I'd look around and I'd say, well, where are our folk festivals? We don't celebrate our folk heritage like Europeans do and like the whole rest of the world.
Yeah.
Asia, South America, they all celebrate their folk heritage. And so I thought we need to form an organization to do that. And so Utah Pioneer Heritage Arts came out of that desire to celebrate our folk heritage. Then I started to realize that our folk heritage isn't just the music, it's the stories.
Yeah. And it's not just Utah.
Yeah.
All of us are connected in so many ways. And those that are passionate about genealogy, that is a huge pastime and hobby for so many people. So are you changing the name of this to Ancestral Heritage Arts? Is that what
Not changing, but adding on.
Okay.
Utah Pioneer Heritage Arts is continuing, but we realized that we need to teach the world how to tell stories musically, ancestral stories.
I see.
Because we've learned a lot about how to do it in the most impactful way.
And a lot of people have heard that call and are responding. You've got about 25 music artists, songwriters, performers that have come together in this group to write and work together. You've put together, it says 180 stories so far that you're just starting. Original stories crafted with this team to keep these stories alive in a meaningful, artistic way.
Yes, and almost every one of those stories ends with a song or has a song incorporated into the telling of the story. You know, like the Penguich Quilt Walk, which got to a point where they didn't know how they were going to get through this deep snow. And so they said, let's pray. So one of them took a quilt out of his pack and threw it out over the snow, and they all climbed up out of the trench they'd been laboriously making and knelt in a circle, each one taking a turn to pray. And then all of a sudden, one of them said, hey, the way to get across this snow is right underneath our knees. We don't break through the crust of the snow as long as we're on the quilt. The quilts spread their weight over a larger surface area.
So did they just lay quilts
Yeah. So
end on end?
End on end. And it was really only 2 quilts. They'd lay one out, and then they'd go, anchor the corners, and the other 3 would come through, and then they'd pull the rear one up to become the front one, and just time after time. And that got them over
No kidding.
this deep snow, all the way up over the 8,100-foot mountain pass and down
They did that end over end for how many miles?
20 miles.
Oh my gosh. No way. I've never heard this story.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah. It's the famous Penguich Quilt Walk, famous to
The famous
everybody
Penguich.
except you.
Where have I been? But I'll never forget it. And then when you put it to song and music,
Yeah.
you really won't
And
forget it.
Get us over this mountain, Lord.
You got so many lyrics in your head. Yeah.
Over this frozen sea, part this frozen sea, get me and my brothers to the other side.
Awesome. Oh, that's great, man. That is so cool. This is it. Just music brings joy immediately. It makes the ear perk up, and you get the attention quickly of an audience, and you only have so long in a 3.5 minute song usually to tell that full story. There's so much there.
But that's the
and
secret.
so there's a
is-
lot of intention put
Yeah.
into this.
And you don't have to tell the whole story in the song.
Yeah.
The song is supposed to bring out the emotional high point.
Yeah.
So you tell the story, and then you get to the point where it's a tipping point.
Yeah.
And at that point, you emphasize the emotion that they're feeling at that point. And then in this particular story, we say, and then that's when they prayed and got the inspiration that used the quilts as a giant snowshoe.
That's cool. So Utah Pioneer Heritage Arts and Ancestral Heritage Arts, what are your intentions? What do you hope to accomplish? What's the next phase?
We're
for all
shifting
this?
from a purely production phase where we tell the stories, we write the music, to a teaching phase where I want to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony, and to tell stories as they do it.
That's
Yeah.
great.
So
That's cool.
we're going worldwide, and there's one song that I'll have to give you that you can play afterwards.
Yeah.
It's this beautiful song that Kunal Ojha from India, East India, fed his ancestral stories into ChatGPT and said, write me a lullaby about my family history. It did a fabulous job of creating poetry
Yeah.
that was very musical. It did a horrible job of creating a melody to go with it. It was just
You need the
boring.
master, Clive Romney.
So we rewrote a melody to it, and then I researched what type of melody would an East Indian composer write.
Yeah.
It turns out it's pentatonic,
Yep.
minor pentatonic, and so we wrote a melody to this lovely poetry, used tabla as the percussion instrument, which is an East Indian set of drums, and then we used sitar,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
and then we used some modern elements too, electric piano.
I would love to hear this.
Yeah.
And if we have a link to it, we'll connect
Yeah.
it here on the podcast for sure.
Yeah,
Do
it's
you have
gorgeous.
a website where people can go and follow you or social media? Where do people get on
Yes,
board and help support you?
By the time this episode pops, it will be ancestralheritagearts.org.
Okay.
'Cause it's a
Is it a 501c3 charity?
It is. It's
Fantastic.
an offshoot of Utah Pioneer Heritage Arts, and under that same nonprofit.
Ancestralheritagearts.org. .org.
Yeah.
We'll come follow that for sure. And so excited to have just sat down with you. I've learned more about you than I even knew, and we've been friends for a long time. And I love that your wife's name is Bonnie, because Bonnie and Clive, almost the Clyde.
As a matter of fact,
you're like the perfect match, man.
Yeah.
You guys are awesome.
I'm also starting a little personal website to just tell my personal journey, and it's called Clive's Bonnie Tales.
ClivesBonnieTales.com. We'll check that out too. In the remaining time we have, and we'll try and find that other song as well to link. But you'd mentioned before we went to the mics, a song about your great-grandma that means a lot to you, a great deal to you. Can we hear a little bit of that as we wrap up this conversation? Would that be okay? And what's her name?
Her name is Catherine Jane Cottam Romney.
Okay.
See the bone-dry hills of Juarez, how we struggle daily for the little we receive. I see a land that makes us humble, dependent on His mercy to live and eat and breathe. You see the moss-filled piedras verdes, mosquitoes and malaria, pain that makes us want to die. I see a time for God to heal us, for our faith to lift and seal us to the sealer up on high. And what you see is not a lie, it's there for all to see. And seeing is believing, so they say. But if you'll see with other eyes and gaze a while with me, what only faith can see will be as clear as day. You see the trials and deprivations, all the limitations that keep raining down on me. I see a loving Father teaching, a gentle hand that's reaching down to grant my every plea. That's what I see. That's what I see.
Bravo, my friend. That's beautiful. Your mama is so proud, and your great-grandma would be honored, I know, to have you to praise her and honor her the way you do musically, and all of your stories. The heart that you put into your artistry is inspiring. You've always been a great friend, but also a mentor to me in many ways that I don't even know if you realize, but I'm grateful for your friendship and who you are. And however we can support you and this movement of honoring our heritages, our pioneer ancestry in whatever capacity, whatever story that is.
Thank you. And let me just issue an appeal. I need collaborators. I am happy to involve other people in this worldwide effort.
This is awesome. It's a movement. If you're a music artist out there, if you're a songwriter, if you feel like also maybe just have a desire to tell a story or to learn, I encourage you to get involved. Contact Clive at his organization, this charity, and make a difference. You never know. I mean, when you were in your mid-20s and your career just took an absolute 180 and changed the course of your direction, made all the difference in the world. And you found that peace and that joy in your career and what you're doing with your storytelling and artistry. And maybe somebody out there listening to this might have that same journey, that same path. And it takes that just one spark, that desire. There are people that also love music, and if you want to get involved, Clive is the guy. So I encourage you to check that out, and I want to thank you again for sitting down, sharing just a little bit, a drop in the bucket of all of the stories you have to share. I love you, buddy.
David.
Thank you so much for taking this time.
Thank
and
you.
thank you for listening to Fresh Off the Set. This has been an honor for me, if anything, just to sit down with my friend and hear him work. This was beautiful. Thank you so much. I got to go pick my guitar up. You've inspired me to go learn a few more chords than what I got. Those are awesome. Some of those intricate little delicate chord changes are just awesome. Just goosebumps. Thank you so much, Clive.
Thank you, David.
Congrats, you made it to the end. If you want to continue to freshen up your day, you can watch us on Fresh Living every weekday on CBS Channel 2 in Utah at 1 o'clock. You can also watch us on our YouTube channel, KUTV Fresh Living, and follow us on social media. We will see you